Good morning, students. This is Dr. Steve Shield. This is Wednesday, April 28th, and I'd like to talk a little bit about Moodle Project number 4. Several students have contacted me about issues that they're not clear on, and so I want to go over the project here. Let me go ahead and work it for myself and see if I can clear up any muddy waters. So let's take a look at the instructions. Okay, we do that. Obviously, if I open up the project, you need to put your name in there. Okay, I've done that. I'll go ahead and save it. Okay, so now let's go back to the project. So we kind of did that. View these two videos. This one's halfway. This one's good. This one probably could use some improvements. And what I think is this may be causing some of the problems with not understanding the assignment. Okay, step number 2, we have a concern about raising taxes and the health costs. So let's just highlight these to show that yeah, that makes sense so far. Park administrator doesn't want to lose any employees. He wants to give everybody a $500 increase to see if that will defray any increasing costs. So, on to step 4. Our assistant is Tanya. You both agree that what if analysis might work to show the administrator what is needed. Okay, here we go. Highlight that. Okay, step number 5. For starters, go to the average value spreadsheet created by your assistant, the prototype, and we're going to see if we can figure out how to use this what if analysis to answer the questions needed by the administrator. So far things are fairly clear. So step number 6 basically says go to the average value spreadsheet, and we need to enter the data. So basically we want to enter the data found on the payroll in the payroll sheet here. So let's look at this. There's the averages that we've talked about. And here are the cells that need those averages pasted into them. So let's go here. Payroll, or monthly salary, I guess it would be. I'll grab that. I have my first value. Now I need the housing stipends. I go to payroll sheet and it's going to be there. And here's a little trick. I can copy these two items in this row 25. Those are the two I need. I'll copy it. I'll come over here and I want to paste it into these two cells in the column. So I want to use not this, but I want to use transpose. So transpose the rows to column values. And I get my housing stipends and auto allowance. Gross wages, of course, is a formula. So why don't we just add these together? Okay, now let's do the same thing with the deductions. Average federal tax, health insurance, and retirement. I'd like to copy those from this row, and we go over here and paste them in the column. So again, I have to use that special. I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want that. But this works just perfect. And it transfers those values into the cells. Again, let's add these up. Use auto sum there, and you can see that I have those values. So those are the gross wages, and those are the total. Now the net wages would again be cell B6, subtract cell B11. So we get the value $2,140.70, and of course that matches what we have over here. So let's go back to the instructions. Okay, yeah, we did this. We copied those values in as required. Cell B6, enter a formula for adding those. We did that. We determined the gross wages. We copied those values in. So far, this is clear sailing. We computed the total deductions by adding those values together. Now in cell B13, we did that subtraction. Determine the take-home pay. Back over here, we're talking about this value. 11. To add clarity, we should think about defining the names. It just makes things easier to understand. But here's a little bit of confusion. I talk about it here, and then I see that, you want, let me go back on that. And you see that I talk about it again in step 15. So that may cause some of the muddy waters. So let's go ahead and name the cells. I'm working this project. I want to get an A on it. So let's name the cells. And again, that's quite easy. I like to name those cells. And just come over here to Formula, Create from Selection, and use the left-hand column as the name of the cells there. So that's okay. I can hit OK on that. And I like to name these cells, just for the fun of it. Same thing. And let's name this cell. Okay. It appears all the cells are named. You can click in here and you can see the names right there. Another way to do it is just go to Name Manager and it lists all the names of the cells that we've been looking for. Okay, great. So far I'm on track, I think. Okay, yeah. Step 12. We want to use what-if analysis to basically check some of these concerns that the tribe has, and the Navajos, feel that there's a good chance that the federal taxes will be going up by 60%, as well as health insurance increasing by 70%. Okay, then down here, there's a reminder before we start the what-if analysis that we should save the original data. So 14 tells us how to get there, so we're really about there. I'll say okay. Okay, so now over here, it says before you run Tanya scenarios, you and Tanya decide the name cells. We've done that. And then basically we want to create these scenarios. What if analysis. So the first scenario is going to be, case 1. But again, we want to save the data. So let's go back over here. I can see how this is jumping around a little bit, which could cause some confusion. Let me clean up the muddy waters. Okay, so I'm working on the project. Okay, I'd like to go to data. I'd like to start my what if analysis, and I'd like to click on Scenario Manager. And, I can add a scenario, original values, data, whatever, but I'll just call it original data. And over here, I'd like to list the values that might change. Okay, of course, these three things could change. And again, I can hold down the control key and go to the next range of cells. Those are going to change, possibly change. And I'd hit OK. Now, of course, in this scenario, we don't want anything to be changing. So these are just saved for purposes for saving the data. Click OK. And we got our original data. And of course, if I show that, nothing is going to change. So let's go back to the instructions. And where are we here? Instructions. Okay. Scenario for case number 1. Excuse me. That's where we're going to give the employee a $500 pay increase in lieu of the federal taxes increasing by 60% and the health insurance increasing by 70%. So let's see if we can set that scenario up. So I'm going to go back to my spreadsheet, add the day scenario, and okay, and I'm going to call it scenario case number 1. Okay, now over here, I'm going to get rid of those for a second. Okay, I'm going to change the salary. Hit Control key. I'm going to change the federal tax. And I'm going to change the health insurance rate. So I can click OK on this. And what's going to happen to those values? Well, let's enter a formula again. So this is going to be equal because I'm going to be adding $500 to their current salary. Salaries in cell B13, or B3 rather. And I'm going to just basically add $500 to that salary. Now the federal tax is going up by 60%. So again, formula equal. Federal tax is in cell B8. And I'm going to multiply it by 1.60%. 1.60. And that's going to give us the original value plus 60% more. Health insurance, let's do the same type of thing. That's in cell B9. I'm going to multiply it by a 70% increase, so that would be 1.7. That looks good. Those are the values that should change. I'm going to hit OK. That's good. And we have the two scenarios. We have the original data, and we have scenario case 1. Now notice the original data we have here. I click on scenario, show, and you can see that their take-home pay is still going to be $2,145.96. So that seems to have worked. So now I'm going to do a summary for us just to see what it would look like. So let's see. We're going to let's click on that one, show that. I'm just going to run a summary. B13. I'm going to do the scenario summary. And see, this is something I can show my employer that this is what basically, happens when you have that scenario involved in case number 1. Monthly salary seemed to go up by 500. The federal tax and the health insurance went up by these values. And so you can see that the take-home pay with that $500 will result in, hey, they'll get $5 and 26 cents more in pay. That ought to cover these taxes and health insurance. Let's go back to the scenario. Now, what is needed? Of course, this would be, we would enter Tanya's scenario, case number 2. I'll leave that up to you. So I'll just highlight that in. Oh, blue is yet to be done. Okay, now, after consulting with your personal finance advisor at the bond dealer of Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe, you feel that there could be a financial bust looming in the future. Consequently, you want to test out 2 scenarios designed by you. So that, you come up with your own scenarios. Complete the assignment using the what-if analysis and create, the 4 scenarios. Original data. So I think that's fairly straightforward. I hope this helps. Again, you may contact me by email, at, of course, my college email. You should know that by now, steve.s@coastal.edu, or give me a buzz. Give me a shout, as they say in Canada. By text or by cell phone call. Head out here, cell phone call. Have a great day, and if you have any questions, let me know.